Basically, I brought you here to see a second growth redwood forest that Green Diamond would like to cut. And if this forest was cut, they would claim that it is doing no damage to the environment. What is happening right now with the climate is we have a massive amount of carbon in it. And scientists now say that we cannot solve this climate crisis by just stopping emitting carbon, because the carbon that we've already put into the atmosphere is going to be there from 100 to 1,000 years, and the damage is going to accumulate. And we need to also take carbon out of the atmosphere, and we need to start doing this real fast. But there's only 3 ways that we can take carbon out of the atmosphere. One is in the oceans. They take carbon and they turn it into carbonates, and it acidifies the ocean. Right now the ocean is more acidic than it's been for thousands and thousands of years. The second way that we could do it is with geoengineering and carbon capture and storage, things like that. And that's a pipe dream. It'll never happen. It can't happen on a small scale, let alone the amount that needs to be done to suck the carbon out of the atmosphere. The third way that we can sequester carbon, take it out of the atmosphere and store it, is in these trees right here, and trees all over the world. And we're constantly being told about how important it is to save tropical forests. When they're cut down and burnt off, that this is the worst thing we could do for the environment. But the truth is that the temperate rainforests, like these forests here, store more carbon per square inch, per meter, per acre, than any other place on Earth. This is God's greatest carbon storage bank right here. A redwood tree, in fact all trees, but a redwood tree is basically 50%, the weight is 50% carbon. As a tree is growing, it is taking carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere. It is using the carbon component to build cells and biomass to increase itself, and it is releasing oxygen for us to breathe. As these trees grow, that carbon is stored. It's not going anywhere. As long as that tree is alive, it is storing that carbon, and in the case of a redwood, anywhere from 1,000 to 2,000 years. We need to start saving redwood forests and other rainforests in the temperate zone. And this information has been stonewalled, it has been blackballed, it has been pushed out of the picture. People do not realize that the salvation of this planet literally depends on these trees. There is nothing else on this earth that can store and suck carbon out of the atmosphere. And if we keep on cutting them the way we're doing right now, both in the Sierras and the Cascades, up through the Olympic Peninsula and up and down the north coast of California, these trees are being cut day in, day out. We need to get away from using sawn lumber. We need to start building differently. We need to start living differently. We need to start doing these things, or there is no hope for the planet. And that's not just a scare tactic or something that they say environmentalists are using this to stop things from happening. No, this is the truth. This is what's happening. Our planet is right now suffering big time. It's going through changes that even scientists do not know how to predict. Forget about computer modeling. Nobody has a clue what is going to happen next year, what's going to happen 5 years from now. Everything is happening at a faster rate than anybody thought it would happen. It's happening differently than we thought. It has not heated the atmosphere as quickly as we thought, but what has heated is the oceans. The oceans are now so warm that it's literally killing off the life in the oceans, and they're turning acidic from sucking in carbon. We need to stop this process, and we need to start protecting our forests, and especially the redwood forest. When a redwood tree grows to 2,000 years old, that carbon goes all the way back 2,000 years. 2,000 years ago, when that tree was first growing, it was sucking carbon out of the atmosphere, and that carbon is still in that tree, safe. And as it gets bigger, that carbon stays there and adds more and more. It doesn't stop growing, like another thing the timber industry says. A redwood tree, in fact, all rainforest temperate conifers put on more carbon as they age. By the time they get 300-400 years, some of them can be doubling the amount of carbon they would be putting on at the age 40 when they get cut down. This information is not getting out to the public. It's not getting out to people simply because temperate rainforests, and especially the temperate rainforests in America on the West Coast, are literally the linchpin of our economy. That's how we build. Every single home basically is out of sawn lumber. But that can't happen. We have alternatives. We know about earth buildings. We know about rammed earth, adobe. We know how to do pole construction. We know how to build out of other things. We do not need to be using these trees. These trees need to be saved. If we don't save them, we're literally cutting the throats of our children and our children's children. And that's real family values. Real family values is saying what is going to be good for our grandchildren and our grandchildren's grandchildren. And we need to start thinking like that. And this forest here, this is a very good example. This is basically a 100 to 140-year-old forest. The timber industry tried to say, oh no, once a forest reaches 40, 60 years, it stops growing, most of the carbon's in the tree, we can cut it down and there's no big deal. That's a lie. As you can see, these trees are much bigger than your average 40-year because they've been allowed to get bigger and grow and keep growing. And this is what we need to do worldwide, but especially in the redwood biome.
Cool.
Very nice.
You nailed it.